Hey everybody, Philip here.
Hey everyone, Julia here.
So today we wanted to do a video talking about specifically HOA fees.
Yes, so we have purchased another property here in the Norfolk area as an investment property. And as we are becoming, more and more hopefully seasoned investors in real estate, we have started to notice a, a beast, HOA, and how that's going to impact investing
Yeah,
in the real estate market and how that's going to affect our cash flow and then how we have to take
absolutely.
into account for calculation.
Yep. So with that, a little bit of background. We
Mm-hmm.
started out in Charleston when we bought our place there. It was a house. So no, like it had an HOA, but it was like 20 bucks a month. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just because it was in a community. It was a fairly nice neighborhood. But after that, we got kind of tired of having to, take care of the lawn and do all that ourselves. So we're like, okay, we're done with that. We're going to go to like townhomes and condos. We even had to replace the roof in Charleston. And we're like, okay, we're done with this. We
Mm-hmm.
want like this stuff to be covered, the externals of the home. We don't want to have to worry about that. So we come to Norfolk and we're
Mm-hmm.
living in a townhouse now. It's great. The HOA, they're really slow, but they do take care of things outside the house, which is really nice. But with that, this does come with a much more expensive fee. It's not 20 bucks, a month anymore, or a few hundred a year. It's a few hundred a month.
Right, absolutely. So after Charleston, right, he doesn't want to clean up the yard. I don't want to clean up the yard. Therefore, we don't need a yard. Until we go to our forever home, we have made the decision that we're only doing condos and townhouse. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. So our current house, how much do we pay for HOA?
Yeah, the HOA here is 360, so a little shy of
Mm-hmm.
400, but again, that covers everything outside of the house and the trash and flood insurance even. There's
Mm-hmm.
so much that goes into that.
Right, and we really like that. And when we are thinking of investing our money into another property, we realize that HOA plays a huge factor. So, for
Absolutely.
example, we're looking at two very similar houses, both like let's say three bed, very similar price. However, one HOA is 150, the other HOA 350.
Hmm.
So therefore, we had to rent one house $200 more to have the same cash flow. And then you are looking to what does this HOA covers that this doesn't, or this covers this don't,
Yep.
and then make a decision that maximize our profit.
Yeah, so for example, like Julia was
Mm-hmm.
saying, we were looking at a house recently, or I guess a townhouse, an attached home,
Mm-hmm.
here in the Hampton, like Newport News side,
Mm-hmm.
not the Norfolk side. And it was a bit of a fixer-upper. It needed some work, but we saw it was, as part of an HOA, and we were like, okay, this is interesting, because we only have to fix up the inside. The outside
Mm-hmm.
should be fine. Had a $150 HOA fee, which is cheaper than some other ones that
Here,
were paying
yeah,
300.
but it's
Um,
more than how much we're paying Charleston for a much smaller property, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's an attached home. So we just figured,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff external was covered, but we went there, we did a little bit more digging, and it turns out you actually still had to pay for the roof. That HOA fee covered like the lawn and a few other things, but you still had to take care of the external of the house. So even though it was like an attached townhome
Right.
type thing, it still didn't cover, the big things we wanted it to.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like not all HOA are created equally. So you definitely before you purchase a property, you want to learn what exactly does this HOA cover, um, and how involved they are, and also some areas, some HOA association don't let you rent out your property.
Yep.
For example, we're interested in one neighborhood, but the HOA requires you have to live there for 2 years before you can start renting out your property. So therefore, we did not end up buying that property.
Yeah.
So make sure you know exactly what you're signing up for before signing up. Also, we're big travelers, so we have
Absolutely.
recently traveled to Seattle, Hawaii,
Yep.
Alaska, and quite a few other places.
Hmm.
And everywhere, each place we go to, we spend like half a day or a day just checking out properties and houses. We think that's a really interesting way to get to know a place and also like for us to learn the market.
Yep.
And we also see some very interesting trends
Yeah.
for
So
HOA.
absolutely. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
varies a lot, as you can imagine, as you go to different places.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking up some averages by state, but that's honestly not the most accurate because, a state can be very big. And, even though HOA rates are really high, if most people live in houses, then it's going to kind of, mess up that average.
Right.
But if you specifically look at cities, so we were in Hawaii recently, huge military area,
Mm-hmm.
Honolulu, biggest city there, in that, state by far. The HOA there is almost Like it was not uncommon to see HOA rates over $1,000
Yeah.
a month. It was insane. And then yeah, you go to Anchorage, for example. We were like, oh, Alaska, there's not too much up there. It's not an island like Hawaii,
Mm,
so it's not getting battered by the wind. But go figure, Anchorage HOA rates were also super
very,
high.
very high because of high maintenance with the snow and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like the HOA almost like dictated what kind of market you are in. So in Hawaii, right, with $1,000 plus HOA fee, there's just no way to cash flow. It has to be appreciation market. You're just not gonna buy a house and think you can cover your mortgage and your HOA fee when your HOA fee is almost half of your mortgage. Um, it's just almost impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
In Hawaii at that point, you're looking at more of an appreciation market. You can't cash flow that with even an investor loan, like 20-30% down, like with an HOA fee that high. It's just not going to cash flow. And it's not specific to those like places either. We went to Seattle, and while there are some like places not downtown that had decent HOA fees, as soon as you
Mm.
start going downtown, and we found like a nice condo we liked
Yeah.
down there, the HOA fee for that was exorbitant. It was like Hawaii level, if not more.
Yeah.
But it came with a lot of features, yes. But yeah, at that point, like it's not cash flowable, so that has to be just a place you really want to live.
Right. Again, like this video, we're not like saying, like, like here's a trend we found or this and that.
No.
Just saying, as two investors starting, from ground zero and slowly going up, something we've noticed and something we've like never really paid attention to as starter real estate investors. Now, something that we're really paying attention to, like what does HOA cover? Does it cover roof and exterior now, which is huge, right? Replacing a roof costs a lot of money, a lot of time. Also, HOA has to cover that for us in the future now. And then whether or not we can cash flow with property with
Yeah.
an HOA.
With us moving around so much, like if we want to hold on to these properties, which we generally do, cash flow is a huge thing for us. We
Mm-hmm.
can't be losing tons of money every month and hope to hang on to that property. It just doesn't work for the situation we're in. And also wanted to say like HOAs have grown significantly.
Oh
Like back
yeah.
in the 70s, 80s, like there were only a few million people living in HOAs. Nowadays, since 2020, it was over 70 million, 80 million people, if not more now. So that amount has also grown like crazy.
Yeah. So right, like I think a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with HOA, right? Like you don't want someone to tell you what to do. While in Charleston, our HOA will send us emails if we leave our car like parked not on our driveway, or after we cut the grass, like we don't like use a blower to blow the grass off the sidewalk, even though it's just gonna blow away overnight. So that's pretty frustrating. But then comparing our neighborhood with neighborhood without HOA, you really see the difference. I think places with HOA feel a lot safer, a lot better managed. So for us, like I would rather pay the money and deal with the trouble to feel safer and to feel like I'm in a cleaner, nicer neighborhood, and knowing that my house won't my the price of my home won't be dragged down because my neighbors are not taking care of their property.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
another huge thing. Like we've seen some townhomes where,
Yeah,
yeah, like your house
it's
is
great.
really awesome, but then you go to your neighbors and the HOA doesn't cover the exterior, so they have like
Yeah, they're like
siding falling
cardboard
off.
boxes covering their window. Like one of our friends, like his neighbor's house just falling apart. So even though his house could be worth 300, 400K, but his neighbor's house, like, right, is like 100K, 200K house are just really bring down his value.
Yeah, and I mean that's not something you want. So
Mm-hmm.
HOAs are good and they're bad. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed this video.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a ton to learn about HOAs
And
and
real
like real
estate.
estate and everything,
Yeah,
but we think we've made a lot of progress recently, and we hope to keep going in the right direction. So,
absolutely.
yeah. All right, catch you in the next one.